Hello again, and what we're going to be dealing with today are conditions, and which specific conditions. We've got a several part series on recovering from injuries. So let's take it one step at a time.
Let's go to it.
When it comes to injuries, I think one of the things that you've always said is muscles are the foundation of everything. So let's talk about recovering from torn muscle.
The main thing with all injuries is take it light, take it easy. Muscles, the fibers elongate, they stretch like a rubber band that's got a nick in it. That's what you're dealing with. What you do first off, rest, ice, compression, and elevation. So when there's an immediate thing, you cool it off. Elevate it to reduce the swelling, compress it, again to reduce the swelling, elevate it, ditto on that one. A couple of weeks later, when all of that starts to go down, and the timing can vary a little bit, it's appropriate to exercise it, but very lightly. But what you want to do at that point, it's not put a strain on it too much. You don't stretch it. It's actually partial motions with a lot of repetitions. And this is in order to increase the blood flow, to try to get the nutrients in and then get the garbage out. And by that I mean, for example, if I tore this muscle, perhaps it'd be biceps, no weight, 50 times, 100 times. I would do that a couple times a day. Nutritionally, trickle feeding amino acids is very useful too, and getting in a little bit of extra protein in there too. When that heals, you can eventually graduate to going into a weighted exercise, usually about the 6-week mark, sometimes longer than that, but not heavy weights. More repetitions, very, very, very controlled cadence, and that's the basic pattern for healing torn muscles.
First, getting back to regular activity, and then several weeks later into a sport, or if you're an athlete.
Sometimes the sport can actually be months, it depends. Don't rush, or you'll be injured way too fast.
That's part one. Next time, we're going to talk about recovering from torn tendons. See you next time.
See you next time.